Learning is the key to successful investing, and who doesn't want to invest in some way?
Here at Learn, Grow, Invest, we focus on financial education, all with the aim of sharing our knowledge on personal finance, investing, and building wealth. We do this on the foundation of our faith in God.
If a more holistic approach is what you need, check out our Grow Faith-based financial coaching program.
Find out more about us at learngrowinvestclub.com
and follow us on all social media platforms at Learn, Grow, Invest.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to this special episode here on our Investor Relations Curated channel. So today I have the opportunity of speaking with Andrew Williams, CEO of RPL, Regency Petroleum Company Limited. And I thought it would be great for us to just have a check-in with Andrew. You see him regularly here on this channel in terms of their earnings calls, but we wanted an opportunity to speak with him without, I guess, the structure of the earnings call. So feel free to post your questions in the comments as we go through. It's just going to be like a check-in between us and Andrew. Just hear about some of the things that they've been working on, hear how things have been developing for them in terms of growth. And we'll talk a bit about, some of the things that may be impacting them, like the junior market limit increase. Are they going to be taking advantage of that? And what the future looks like in terms of the growth and outlook for their business. So join me in welcoming Andrew Williams, CEO of RPL. Hi, Andrew.
Thank you. Thanks for having me again.
No problem. It's been a while since it's just us, right? You've been speaking with Renee for the past couple of interviews. Mm-hmm. And so I'm happy to be able to have this conversation with you now.
Good to be here.
So, how's it been? Just a general check-in. How has the year been? How has the process been working with now three gas stations now, right?
Over the last quarter, it has been quite busy for many reasons. First of all, it's our year end. So we recently published our annual financials, and thereafter, we're looking towards our annual return and our AGM. So we have been quite busy over the last quarter having to do that, compliance and regulatory, whatever the regulator bodies require. We have to meet all the regulations in certain timelines. So we have been busy trying to meet those timelines along with operating these 3 service stations. So we have been quite busy over the last quarter. And we'll be busy for the next,
busy is good, I'm sure.
Yeah. But things has been good, man. Things has been going quite well, and as expected so far.
Okay. I think you meant to say annual report. I think you said annual return.
Annual report. Right.
Yes. Yeah. Okay. All right. Perfect. So, what would you say? Just separate and apart from maybe the performance side, how has it been now managing these 3 stations? What does the size of the team look like now in terms of from where you started? And what would you say you found that is one of the key things that have allowed you to grow to this point?
Okay, all right. So let me recap a bit. We have been listed since 2022, just over 2 years now, going 2.5 years. And I cannot say it enough how much this listing and being listed on the junior market has helped the company in terms of growth and in revenues, in profits, and overall growth for the company. It has allowed us the opportunity to expand significantly over the last 1.5 years, and we are on a path to becoming a household name in Jamaica when it comes down to petroleum products, cooking gas, and automotive fuels. So over the last 2 years, I am quite pleased with the performance of the company. We have seen significant growth in primarily the automotive fuel side. We have been growing organically in the LPG, which is where we started out originally. As it's known to be capital intensive, and we have been growing it, but we can speak further about that later on in this interview. But overall, I am quite pleased with the progress, and we have so much more room for growth, and we have so much plans in place in the short, medium, and long term for the company. So thanks again to our shareholders, and just the Jamaican people and investors who have showed their confidence that they have within the company, the enthusiasm about the company. A lot of persons are very enthusiastic about the company. We getting a lot of positive and good feedback from investors and just the general public across the island, which is very good for the company, as a Jamaican-owned company also.
Yes, and I'll add to that in terms of how investors have been responding in terms of your stock, right? We've
Exactly.
seen, I believe you've been seeing consistent growth there. I think consistent activity in terms of trading, etc. So it's one of those, I'd like to say, like community favorites, right? Somebody was asking me just last night on a program I was doing, what are some of the junior market companies that I like? And the very first company I came out of our mouth was RPL, because I was saying to them,
Thank you for that.
that you're gonna have a great year. I think that this Q1 is gonna be great. Not knowing, of course, what numbers will say, but it's just been one of those things that you've seen the growth. You've been very transparent and open with your investors, and that is something that I think is now associated with your brand as well, right? Persons expect you to be open and transparent as things go, and I think that has been a good example that you've set in that regard.
Thank you.
So let's focus. So you did mention things that are planned short, medium, and long term. We'll get to that in a second. But let's talk about a little bit about your most recent gas station that you'd have launched in December. You will have done the first quarter. How are things there in terms of, without saying the numbers, of course, have they met your expectations? Have there been anything that you didn't expect in terms of a pleasant surprise, or what can investors look forward to seeing in terms of that Q1 report that's coming?
Well, for our recent service station in Kingston, I can say we have met and in some cases exceeded our targets and projections for Kingston's location. There has been much surprises. We have been having a smooth operation. We have, tremendous and excellent support from the community. I can tell you, the community, they are quite pleased having Regency Petroleum there. Our presence, it's appreciated across the community. We provide a good service to the community, and not only to the community, but in the Kingston in general. So we are getting support not only from where the geographical location is, but we're getting support from across the corporate area in general. I just want to mention that we have pioneered a number of different, we have implemented a lot of different stuff, like we have our taxi, for example, which is really accepted and appreciated across the corporate area. This is new to them. So we have our taxi dispenser, our taxi pump, wherein we provide a discounted price for taxis. And it's new. It's new. It's a Regency policy, but it's new to the corporate era, and they really appreciate that service. So we have other stuff that we are pioneering at the Kingston location, or at other locations also. I don't want to let out too much about it, but for Kingston, it has exceeded our targets so far. We have our financials coming out shortly. However, we have a busy quarter. We have a lot of expenses on our hands this quarter with regulatory bodies, etc. But for Kingston, we are quite pleased and we're looking forward to the future because we only completed one quarter already. So we see where improvements and revenue should increase over quarters to come.
All right, sounds good. And I think in terms of that, so what I've noticed, and this is a brief tangent here. I grew up in taxis, meaning I used to take a lot of taxis, and what I found with a few of them is that once they try to fill up or manage their gas sometimes daily. So they start the day, fill up,
Right.
Your trips for the day, and then maybe fill up again to head home if they work out of town. But they're usually loyal to a gas station, especially if they can get a good price. And so if you're able to build that relationship with them and they have, for example, that particular rate or service that they get from you, it should bode well in terms of building up consistent patronage by them. So I guess that's what you're trying to build there.
And as you said that we try transparent in what we do, and we try to communicate a lot. So we have a team in Kingston that we that liaison with these companies. So Kingston is a bit different from the rural areas. So for Kingston you have associations, as with the corporate, but you have like taxi companies, So we try to align ourselves and liaison and develop a relationship with them because we want to give back. It's not just about earning the profits. We have a CSR, we have a corporate responsibility, and this is indirectly a part of our CSR.
Yeah, got you. So what would you say? So last year I would have seen where you made the announcement, for example, that was a company-wide policy, for example, to close on Sundays. How has that been in terms of response? I'm assuming that you're doing that for the Kingston location as well. How has that been? How has it been in terms of from both customers, employees, etc.? How has that been received? Now that you've had an extended time to test it out.
That has been going excellent, and I can tell you, we have always put God first in our company, and we allow Him to come into the company, and we put Him first. So whatever decisions that are being made within the company, and He has proven Himself to us. We have so many testimonies wherein the Lord has carried the company. It's there for everyone to see. We have been listed 2 years now. We're a small company. We're listed 2 years now. We have achieved so much over this 2 years period, which we attribute all of this growth and development within the company to Him. So I would say, closing on a Sunday, on a day to primarily recognize what He has done for the company and to recognize Him, it's the least that the company can do based on what He has done for us. And closing on Sundays, we are not looking for, we make a sacrifice to close on Sundays, so we're looking to reap some benefit. No, we are closing on Sundays. That's not the attitude or what we expect. We are simply doing what we think we need to do, and to show our appreciation to what the Lord has done for the company. And closing on Sundays, I can tell you, it's the best thing that we have ever done in terms of implementation of a policy. The best thing that the company has done in terms of policy implementation is that Sunday closure. It has, in the initial stages, it came. We had different comments from different aspects of our society, from communities and all that. Why we're a service station, we need to open on a Sunday, whatever. But the primary thing is that we have to. This is our belief. We have to recognize what the Lord has done for us in our business life, our business, and personally. and it's a time for us to spend with family, to worship the Lord, and we believe that this policy is critical in our operations of the company. We need to recognize the Lord for this. And I tell you, Jeremy, I mean, we are not looking for, say, we sacrifice or we're looking for something, but we can see. I mean, you can see what he has done and what he's doing. And I cannot speak about much about the future more than that. We have a lot of plans in place, but he has encouraged us to continue to do so and continue to put him first. And he has continued to encourage us.
And you're not seeing, as far as you're able to say, any fall off in revenues or anything like that.
No, I can tell you that we have so much loyal customers that yes, we will see a reduction on the Sunday sale, but it makes up back during the course of the week. So our customers are loyal to us. They understand and they try to fit in. That's what we have noticed. They try to fit into our operations now. So if as I said, taxi persons want to, what they find they probably do on a Saturday evening, they will full up, and you'll have a crowd coming in on Saturday evening at the service stations. And on a Monday morning, it's quite busy. So you don't see where. So if they need fuel during the day on a Sunday, I mean, if they need it, because what you find that most of our customers come in on a Saturday evening and come back on a Monday morning. You know? And if they don't need fuel, I assume that what I notice is that probably they just touch up or top up for the Monday morning.
Okay. All right. Cool. Yeah. So I wanted to ask as well. So you were able to complete that gas station in Kingston by financing through GK, right?
Right.
And I saw just today on social media an announcement about something to come, right? Can you tell us a bit about that? You know, what can we expect? What can you share about that in general? That announcement that was made.
Well, the announcement was made. It's another service station for Regency that will be opened. It's close to our filling station in Crawford, St. Elizabeth. Now, this service station will be a dealer-owned, a DODO. So it will be a dealer-owned, dealer-operated. We will, however, brand the service station Regency, and this service station will be under Regency's guidelines and operational policies, and we will service and supply the service station on a bulk basis.
So what does dealer owned, dealer operated mean? What does that mean in terms of the business model?
This would mean that it will be our second franchise. So we recently had our first franchise in Withorn. So this will be our second franchise. So the proprietor of the service station will be branded Regency Petroleum. Will construct and brand service station Regency Petroleum. And we will have a fuel supply contract in place to supply fuel. So that's basically what a dealer.
So pretty much all of their all of their fuel will come from you. What does that mean in terms of, without getting into the percentages or anything like that? So if
additional revenue, significant additional
the gas station does $1 million in revenue, $1 million yours, or is just a portion that they pay to you, or is it just a fuel you
percentage?
It
will be a percentage based on our revenues, our markups from our purchases, our day purchases.
Okay.
So it will be.
Okay, and then they get to benefit by having the supply directly from you, and they fall under the Regency brand, and so the name recognition, etc. They're able to benefit from.
Right. So it will be a increase in revenue for Regency with minimum capital expenditure.
Okay, awesome. So dealer owns means the dealer takes on the expense.
Expenses, right? So it's additional. So that's the beauty about this operation. And for Regency, that's a benefit for Regency, that we will increase our revenues with minimum capital expenditure.
Yeah. So what does that look like in terms of that model, right? Is that something that you are aggressively pursuing? Does this mean, for example, that you could take a John Brown gas station and simply just rebrand? Is that possible? So
yes, and what you find now, Jermaine, is that based on Regency being established across the island, you find a lot of inquiries coming in. That's why I always say on the earnings call that boy, um, we have our planned expansions, but things can come on the table from time to time, based on awareness of Regency Petroleum and what we do, and how established we are now, and how we plan to grow in the future. So persons are watching the company, and they are seeing the developments of the company, and they are liking the developments of the company. So we are getting a lot of inquiries now. So you find that privately owned service stations have an interest in Regency Petroleum and want to align our partner with Regency. They are seeing the benefits of it, and they like the company overall. Yeah. I mean, as I said, we are favored. Again, we have to give thanks to God for that. you know. So we find that a lot of inquiries are coming into our offices from time to time, more so now. As time goes on.
So what does that process look like? So you've made the announcement today on social media. I assume we're gonna see something, for example, on the JSC in a couple of days in terms of a formal press release.
We'll have a press release, right?
What does it mean in terms of timeline for you to realize that revenue? Is it Q2 this year, Q3 this year, Q4? What is
I would say we are hoping to begin construction. This is on the dealer side now. Within a few weeks, construction should commence. So with that said, I want to be conservative with the timeline. Usually, and this, Jermaine, I can tell you, I don't know who missed this very important point, that this service station in particular will be the first service station in Jamaica that will have the facility of a truck stop, a formal truck stop. There are no service stations in Jamaica currently that has or have a formal truck stop where truckers that haul aggregates or whatever product you might haul across the island. You don't have a formal truck stop where you can stop. There will be a shower facility. There are bathroom facilities, toilets, and you have a 24-hour convenience store operated to service our truck and refresh them, truck drivers. So we are looking. So it is a benefit in many ways. What you find that you have a lot of informal truck stops across the island. When I say informal truck stops, I mean you have truckers parking along the roadside, and it's usually where there is like a food area, like where you have like probably a 24-hour restaurant or something, where they can stop and refresh themselves, and it's informal, meaning that they park on the roadway. So this will be a formal rest stop where parking facilities over 67,000 square feet of property that the service station will be on. And there will be parking areas designated for truckers, trailers to park, have a shower, bathroom facility, and have a convenience store where you can refresh yourselves. So it is quite significant for the company, and as I said, we always pioneer stuff. So this is another one of those pioneering facilities. So we're looking forward to that.
Just so that we can appreciate the size, you said 64,000 square feet. What will be your largest one now?
Our largest one now, most of our service stations are within the same square footage, same size area, and I would say it's 20,000 square feet. Yeah, about 25,000 square feet.
Okay. Yeah. Okay, so in terms of, I see Jerome here asking, and it makes sense because you mentioned 24-hour, that convenience store, etc. Does this mean that this dealer station will be opened on Sunday, or they'll follow the same, no Sunday opening?
They'll follow the same, no Sunday opening. The facilities will be there, however, for the truckers to stop and refresh themselves. Shower facilities, bathroom facilities, and all that will be there.
Okay. So that would be available. So the truck stop features or benefits will be available because those can be used.
Right.
And then,
there will be no operation in terms of the service station being operated.
Okay, that makes sense. Okay, so it's possible to maybe have the convenience store open because maybe if they come and refresh themselves and need something to eat, but the gas station side
Will
will.
be, will be, will be, will be
Okay.
closed. Yeah.
All right, cool. So this is related, so I'll ask it now. Jerome is asking what inspired the desire to build this truck stop facility. What's market research was done to estimate the amount of trucks, or I guess what opportunities did you see? Or I guess this would have been a collaboration between you and the dealer, but what's the vision that you both see?
All right. The dealer. All right. The geographical location is one that decided that. The second thing is that it's also an informal truck stop currently. There's an informal stop there, and there's also an informal stop within 2 mile radius of there, which is in the White House area. So we find that that route is the main thoroughfare on the south coast from the corporate from east to west. So you have uh, aggregates that persons in the western side of the island purchase and can only purchase, even from the northern side, from the Clarendon area, so central to eastern Jamaica. So you find that you have a lot of trailers that haul products 24 hours from Clarendon per se to Westmoreland to St. Elizabeth, Manchester, coming down, Hanover, we even going back to St. James. So you find that it's a main thoroughfare for truckers. So we have that traffic flow. There's also, as I said, there's also other known informal truck stops along the way. So based on this, that's the first thing why we decided to put a truck stop there. The second thing, the dealer also, it's a returning resident from the States and somebody who I've known personally too. So they in collaboration, because as I said, that's where our LPG filling station is located also. So in collaboration with us, Regency, and the dealer, we decided to implement this facility as we see it fit and see it needed in that location.
Okay. So pretty much you have the data already supporting it because that's what it's being used for
Based
currently.
on our traffic flow, yeah.
So it's not gonna be like a change of flow or anything for those who are already using the space.
Right.
So once it becomes branded Regency, they get maybe benefits of improved facilities and the
Right.
other things that you're offering,
Yeah.
and it's more value added for something that they're already doing, is what you
Yes.
say.
Mhm.
Okay. Okay. All right. So it's amazing how time flies. I wanted to ask you, so you've heard about the preparation of the, so I know you mentioned the dealer owned dealer operated model doesn't require a lot of cash for you, but have you, well, based on your current expansion plans for maybe some of the other things you're working on, will there be need for any leveraging of that cap increase for junior market companies? Is it something you've thought about? Maybe taking those funds to maybe clear down the debt from GK that you borrowed to build um, the service station in Kingston. Any thoughts around that?
Well, again, as I always say in our earnings calls, that we have these 3 service stations being operated now, and we wanted to see the revenues from them. We have our targets and our plans in place on the table for the next for the short, medium to long term. So yes, we have those plans in place, and we wanted to know or realize these revenues and profits from the service stations over 1 to 2 quarters. So which we have 1 quarter completed so far. And well, this quarter I said we'll carry a lot of expenses because of what we have in terms of regulatory obligations. But we will see the profits from this quarter and from next quarter to decide how we move forward in terms of financing what we have on the table already. This would be one of those opportunities where was on the table, but it's more, as I said, will come by, because opportunities will come by on the table, not what we plan for, but what are presented to us. So this will be one that was presented to us, and we probably have more that will be presented to us over time as we become established. Because as I said, we are quite loved within the industry, and you find that private owners are approaching us from time to time, want to partner with us in some form or way. Yes, so in terms of, to answer your question, to move forward, and if we're going to take advantage of whether the junior market increase, the limit has increased, or we're going to do a bond again, or we want to pay down what we have. We want to operate for the next quarter. We're completing 1 quarter for the next quarter to see where we move forward. If we need to pay it down from revenue, from profits, or we go elsewhere with the junior market to pay down whatever debt or to finance any other project to come. So it's a little bit premature now to answer what avenue we might take, but we are aware of the opportunities and the options that we have.
Yes,
so
yes.
I don't want to speak too much on that as yet. I think I'm not able to speak too much on that as yet. To make a prudent decision, I would say we need to operate these 3 service stations for a little longer time, another quarter or so, so we can know where we're moving forward, make prudent decisions.
Okay, so you want to say pretty much what the stations are able to generate 6 months without any additional expenses,
Exactly.
or to say
Right.
What that would look like. And you do have, I guess, new overhead costs that would have come with maybe the station that you've been able to say maybe over the first 6 months. Okay, that makes sense. So you want to see what it looks like, because it really is just your first quarter. And so I guess not having enough time to really, I guess, appreciate all the expenses that come with Kingston.
Right.
And I guess the dealer-owned, dealer-operated station, you already have a good idea as to what that will cost you, if any. And so, okay, understood.
And let me just say further, when you're financing a project, Jeremy, I mean, there are so much different options that you have in terms of, if you're going to take a bond, take a loan, or go to if it's equity by the general market, it's different, but you will know from our profitability, fine, we can take on a bond or a loan or our debt for 2 years as opposed to 5 or 6 years, because based on the profitability of the company and what we project to make, we can take on a loan for just 2 years and pay it off within 2 years, because the profitability is able to pay it down, and we pay less interest, we pay less whatever, and we'd have a shorter term loan, as opposed to the magnitude of the investment. If we need to take, based on our revenues and projections, we can say, boy, we have to take a loan for 5 or 6 years to for it to work out at best interest of the company. We pay less interest, we have the capital at hand to do the expansion, and we know when it's completed at X time, the profitability should be this, based on cash flow projections, based on targets and projections from that new investment. So it's kind of premature now to decide what avenue we will take when it comes down to financing future projects and what we have on the table. And as I said, we are getting calls, I wouldn't say constantly, but from time to time. So just as how we have this Crawford project on the table now, we have others that can come up. We have others that can come by. Just, I wouldn't say overnight, but in a very, very short term.
Sounds like maybe there's something there that if you want to say but can't say, it's okay. No problem.
I just say it can come by. Something can come by.
Understood.
Yeah.
So Dominic is asking, how far along is the approval process for the Crawford location?
The Crawford location was approved just recently. So
that's why you were
approvals
able to make
are
the announcement on social
That's
media.
why we have to make the announcement. Right. So we held off a bit until we received these approvals.
Okay, makes sense. I see Ryan asking, how much of your shares are currently standing as security for the debt to GK? Is that
there's no?
Yeah, no, I don't remember seeing that, Ryan. I don't know where I got that data from. Because it's okay. And because I was gonna say not that there would be anything wrong with it in the sense, because you're probably not gonna be selling your shares anyway. So So this is a
That's what I said.
conversation we've had.
I mean, the company is a very young company. It's in a growth stage. We have so
Yeah.
much room for growth,
Yeah.
so that more wise to we want to realize
Yeah.
that growth and
Philip is suggesting a listed bond. We've seen actually a few brokers done bonds that have been tradable. So if you do a listed bond, then persons are able to trade that just like they would shares. That would be an interesting concept to see a company do it for sure. I've seen brokers do it.
I think Barita is doing one now.
Yeah.
Barita is doing a traded one now. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So Philip is also asking, how is the LPG business growing?
Well, I'm happy for that because I didn't touch on the LPG as it, but it is our intention by now and the end of this year to do a significant investment in the LPG. We have seen huge, well, we have always seen huge, a high demand for it, but over the last 2 years since we have been listed, it was quite challenging. Even prior to listing, just being, one of the first, I would say the first non-traditional LPG company within the country being operated, especially a Jamaican-owned company. We had a lot of challenges. A lot of times we were quite discouraged based on just the industry and that we had to operate in, especially as a Jamaican-owned company, a local company. Now we have overcome over this 2-year period, 2.5 year, 3 years period now prior to listing. Majority of these obstacles and hurdles, we are now accepted amongst our competitors amongst our competitors and the general public. So we have developed a reputation with who we supply so far in the locations and areas and prices that we supply. We have our product, LPG product, and I'm talking about primarily household products now, is in high demand, is a fact. Our LPG products are in high demand when it comes down to household products. We're getting phone calls, we're getting requests across the island, especially in the eastern side. And we have decided now, after overcoming all these hurdles and risks, major risks involved, to carry us where we are now. We see where we can now take on or go into an expansion mode on our LPG household side, which is good news for us and shareholders and the general public. So we are looking, it takes time for us, a little time for us after implementing our finalizing decision to expand on the LPG household. So it's going to take some time for us to put it into place and actually be on the ground and running with our products. So I'm hoping that by the end of this year, we can see some expansion or some significant expansions and growth in our LPG line. That's our plans. That's one of our plans that are on the table for this year. I don't want to go much further into that. Yeah.
Jerome is asking, yeah, man, I realized I was muted.
Yeah.
So I said fair enough in terms of your response. Jerome is asking, would you consider spinning off 20% of the LPG side of the business to raise a significant amount of funds to deal with how capital intensive the LPG business is? Pretty much saying, are you willing to take in capital by selling some sort of ownership or equity in the LPG business to be able to now invest in the growth of that business?
Well, we have a number of options that we're looking at now. I don't want to go into much detail again, but we have a number of options looking at now. So we are trying to make the most prudent decision as to how to expand on the LPG in the interest of the company.
Yeah.
So whatever the most, and our directors, our management team and our directors will look at it and see the most prudent way to move forward with our financial control and our finance team. what's the best approach to take based on all these options that are on the table in terms of
Okay.
financial expansion.
Okay. All right. So it's one second here. So further to Ryan's previous question, he said your audited financials on the point 15 says the bond was secured by equity shares of the principal shareholder and managing director. So I'm trying to
Oh, that
find.
would have been an error. That would have been an error. I think we had mentioned that in the last earnings call. I think it came up. Yes, that would have been an error.
Okay, yeah, because I do see it here. 0.5, the bond is secured by equity share. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. I mean, okay. Yeah, I understand the need for clarification. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So Ryan, hopefully that clears it up for you. You can check out the previous earnings call here on this channel. Note, this is not our main channel. This is the investor relations curated platform. So this channel is specifically for earnings calls, specifically for special interviews that we're going to be doing with CEOs, etc. So if you're new to this channel, you certainly want to subscribe because it will be separate from what we're covering on the main channel. All right. So let me get in a couple more questions here, Andrew. Some are coming in here. So Jerome is saying further to what he was saying before. Essentially, he's just recommending a split like Lasco. So you have Lasco manufacturing, Lasco distributor. So you could split it to maximize funds available for growth. Is what he
And
was
that's an
saying.
option. That's an
Yeah.
option. That's an option. That's an option. I said we just want to make the most prudent decision when it comes down to financing the expansion of the LPG.
Yeah.
So it's an option.
Yeah. And then Ryan is asking if the note that we just mentioned requires an amendment to the audited report. I think that's something we'll confirm, Ryan, and get back to you. If it does, then I'm sure that will be coming soon.
I think an amendment is actually in place.
Okay.
Since our last earnings call.
We'll follow up on that for you and share something, Ryan, to just ensure that that is covered. So thanks for that. Tavares is asking what's happening with the petrol station in Clarendon that was announced last year.
Well, it's still awaiting certain approvals. So that's what's really keeping that one up. So as soon as those approvals are, we have those in hand, then construction will take place. As you know, it's the proprietor that's the person in charge. It won't be the dealer. It's the proprietor that's in charge of the construction. So it will be a leased service station from the proprietor. So we have to await. It's not in Regency's hands just yet.
Yeah. And Dominic had the same question. So Dominic, I had pinned it. I was gonna get to it. So since Tavares asked, I thought I'd just, take both at the same time. Dominic was also asking, given that you're looking to expand, will there be an update to the current color scheming of future service stations to a more professionally designed template to match high profile competitors? I think he's talking about maybe the branding, materials you use, etc. Is that something that you're planning to update in the future?
Well, we haven't had an issue thus far, so we don't anticipate. But if there's a suggestion, we are willing to take any suggestions for anything that's deemed needs improvement.
Yeah. I think what he says further is that the concern is that there will be a struggle to get more stations unless a marketing package that investors immediately give attractive and drawn. So the last part, I'm not maybe reading it clearly, but I think he's saying pretty much if you're able to, I guess, make the process more attractive or seamless to potential investors, it would help it, go through.
And that's presentation is in reference to what? Presentation or is in reference to?
Yeah, Dominic, clarify. I think he's speaking to templates. Are you talking the assets and collateral that the station is branded in, Dominic? Please clarify. That's how I take it. I'm not sure. Dominic, please clarify for us, and we'll move on to another question. So Limitless is saying, well, it seems like a statement here. You must love the increase in share capital for junior market companies. We spoke about that a little bit earlier. So Limitless, if you have any follow-up, you can let me know. And they're asking also, would you ever consider a stock split given that the top 10 shareholders own almost 95% of the company?
I mean, that's something that we can consider, but currently, not in the short term right now, not right now. We're more focused right now on our expansion plans and our growth, you know,
Yeah.
especially with what
Yeah.
we have on the table right now. We want to execute a number of projects right now, before we
Yeah.
consider. Yes, it's something I would have to consider.
Okay. Yes, because I'm looking at the last report based on what Limitless is saying. Your top 10 shareholders own 94.1% of the company. So really,
Mhm.
outside of that is
Not
just
much, it's not.
5%,
Yeah.
right? So that's, I mean, that has its benefits. So I think
Mhm.
that's something that you'll treat with when the time comes. But
Time comes.
typically, considerations for stock split have a very specific criteria that I don't think we
Right.
need to get into. But I
Yeah.
mean,
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, I agree, Tavares. See, Tavares is saying limitless should just buy the other 5%. I'm sure. I'm
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah.
Persons with their orders in the queue on the sell side would love if you just buy it all the way up. I think I've seen orders go as high as double digits
Yeah.
and so
Yeah.
on. So,
Yeah. Yeah.
all right. So I think that's all of the questions. So what I wanted to ask you before we close here, Andrew, and I want to really understand, and this is a question we've talked about before, but since this is sort of our check-in interview, just to ensure that we're still on track. So you've mentioned wanting Regency to become a household name. You're certainly closer to that than you were 2 years ago. What have you seen in terms of, I guess, well, help us to understand what maybe next 5 years will seem like it will hold for I know it's hard to maybe focus that far when you're managing so many things and trying to grow in the short term, but what do you see for
For,
Regency
for, for the next
in
five
medium
years,
term?
for the next
Yeah.
5 years, medium to long term, I would say that remember now that we are a young company in a growth stage. Now, there's a lot of market share out there to be gained within the industry. So, for the medium term, our objective is to gain as much of that market share as we can gain. We have a target in place. So, we're trying to gain additional market share within both sectors of the industry that we operate in. So, we want to gain market share in automotive fuels and in household cooking gas and bulk cooking gas. So our objective in the medium term, Jeremy, is to, and to our audience, is to increase our market share. So a young company, we have a small market share. We want to increase that market share up amongst. We have it's quite competitive. We have multinationals that we are competing with. However, we have our strategies in place. We have our plans in place. So we are so far we are meeting our targets, our projections, and we hope to continue to do so over the next 5 years. Now, for the long term to 10 years, we have a number of things on the table. We want to become a multinational company. We want to be a household name in Jamaica and also a multinational company. Now, we want to grow, gain that market share in the medium term, and expand multinational. So be a multinational company and expand within the region, within the Caribbean, and also across globally. So that's for the long term. So Regency, as I said, we take it step by step. We have seen growth significant and exceeding our targets so far. And again, we put God in the forefront of our operations, and He has the handle. So we include Him in all our decision making processes, and we ask for his guidance as the company continues to grow. So by faith and by our obedience to him, I see where Regency has a very bright future within our country and globally. I see where Regency will be not only a household name in Jamaica, but will be an established name globally. And that's for the long term, past the medium to the long term. So I say, just to reiterate a bit, we have a number of plans on the table. One which I keep on saying that it's going to require, it's a massive infrastructure and it's a massive project for the company to take on, especially at this time. But we are confident that it will come to fruition in time, and if and when it comes to fruition, the company will be uh, on a good foundation for for expansion within Jamaica and globally.
All right. So it sounds interesting. I can't wait to hear. I'm not aware, thankfully, so I can be
Well,
honest and say that I don't know.
yeah.
So we wait to hear what that is when the time comes. Congratulations on all your success. I did note that I have not asked this question, right? So you would have had the incident earlier this year. We spoke about it, but I don't believe we got any further update based on, you'd have done the video, published that. I think it was on the Observers, or I don't
Yeah,
remember
observer,
which
news observer. Yeah, yeah.
but just so everybody's understanding what's the update. Have you been cleared to resume operations there? What impact, if any, would have been experienced with
Well,
that um, incident?
it was the magnitude of that fire, Jermaine, and to the audience, is that it's one that, boy, it was such a significant event, or significant fire, even for the fire department. They have stated that, boy, this is something that they have never dealt with before, and in saying so, the whole entire process of um, and based on the geographical location again, with the service station and the warehouse that was burned down, it takes a lot of time for us now because we're so close to the location. For we haven't even really begun that cleaning up process as yet, based on the nature of what was there at the location and the extent of which the fire, I mean, what was the extent of the fire was so huge, and the magnitude of it was so huge, so that the contents of what was there, it is going to require a lot of well, cleaning up, which hasn't commenced fully as yet, based on investigation and so what have been taking place, and we're still trying to recover, if anything can be recovered from the fire, although the magnitude is also huge, so it's taking a lot of time, and because of the geographical location, it's not in the best interest of the surroundings currently for us to commence operations just now. And I can repeat that, it's not in the best interest of the community just now for us to begin operations, and it's primarily because of the geographical location of where the fire was concentrated. But what I can tell you, and give our shareholders a little relief, is that I want to remind you that that location is where we started out. So it's since we have opened other locations, especially in Westmoreland. I mean, we have one just about 2-3 miles down the road is Paradise, and we have one in Negril, which is about 25-30 minutes drive from there. This location was not a full service gas station or service station. It was just dispensing 90. It was primarily, it's our head office location for one, and it's a matter of sentimental value why we really maintained the operations at this location. It was more of a sentimental value. It was our head office, and it was where we started out. So, and we only dispense one product, as opposed to the full service station, which would have all four products, are in Kingston case three products. We have other facilities such as a convenience store. We have other amenities around, like compressed air and all that for trucks or cars. So this location primarily and only dispense 90 fuel, 90 octane fuel, right? So in terms of concerns of loss of revenue being significant and all that, this location did not um, make up a significant portion of our revenues to date or currently with our other service stations. We have 2 miles down the road, 125 minutes away. So this was primarily maintained as a sentimental and additional revenue, yes, but not that significant as it is or was dispensing primarily one product. So I answered that question in two parts basically. So we're
Yeah.
still awaiting the primary question to answer the primary question. We're still awaiting. We're still taking time to recover and to make the area, the location secure, before we start our operation. Because when we start operations, you'll find traffic flow coming through, and it will coincide with the clean operations and what to take place.
Do you think it
Construction
would
wise.
make sense based on what you just said to maybe repurpose the location? Maybe it would make sense since you said it was your head office. Maybe you just renovate it, focus on office space, since it really is just dispensing 90. You don't have all the conveniences, and you have a location just 2 miles away.
Exactly. So that's what we're probably looking at. The cost benefit and all that, and
Yeah.
to have it operational. So we're looking at that. We're taking this time now, since it's has been closed, to look at that and see the benefits of reopening as opposed,
Yeah.
to just maintain it. Because as I said, it was since the other service stations are open, you'll find that it's just more of a sentiment about it. We started out there, so why close it? We just maintain it, basically.
I understand, and also
And I'm
because
quite sentimental. I personally am quite sentimental.
yeah, we know that. We know that, Andrew. We've kind of seen that. Both for the work you do, your employees, your team, and for the country, right? There's nothing wrong with that for sure. And I imagine that you'll make it at a board level if it makes sense to take the necessary steps.
Right.
Final comment from Dominic here. He was just saying it's pretty much speaking to the design. So he thinks that while the design is similar to others, it lacks the refined and clean feel of other locations. So I think he's talking about the branding, maybe the assets used, etc. So that's I think it seems here, Dominic, that you may have an opportunity to make a recommendation. So if you have something recommending to Andrew, I'm sure you'd be open to it. Send a link or something to me, and I'll forward it to the team.
Or you can send an email to info@rplgas.com. But I'm quite anxious. I mean, you could send an email even now immediately to us, making some suggestions or recommendations.
Just don't send any links because we're not just gonna click on any links like that. But send recommendations. I'm sure.
And you can reach out to me personally just send me an email and we can talk about it. I mean, any suggestions, because we're here to serve you. Our customers. We want to stand out. So what any aspect you see that needs improvement in terms of aesthetics or presentation, we want to know right away, immediately. So
Yeah.
we can act on it.
All
You know?
right.
Yeah.
Cool. Fair enough. All right. So we are on the hour, so we have to wrap up now. Andrew, any closing comments or thoughts to your,
Well,
investors, potential investors, and so on? Anything you want to say in closing?
well, yeah, man, definitely. First of all, I would like to thank our shareholders for their confidence and enthusiasm within Regency. I'm telling you, I am quite overwhelmed with comments, suggestions that I've been hearing on various many platforms. Especially for Kingston, we feel very much appreciated there, and we have been getting tremendous support from the community and the surroundings in Kingston. So I would just like to say a special thank you to our shareholders and the Jamaican public who have experienced the Regency product, and investors who have been following the company and displaying a lot of interest within the company and its growth. So I would just like to say a special thank you to everyone, and also continue to follow us in our growth trend and trajectory. We have a lot of plans on the table. We also invite any suggestions or recommendations for any improvements or any aspect that you might see that's necessary, or just any comments, any suggestions you might have for the company. We're a publicly listed company. We're a Jamaican-owned company, and we want to include our Jamaicans, our citizens, people from the diaspora, anybody, any Jamaican, who want to stand out, who want to be a multinational, who want to be amongst the multinationals, who want to lead in the country in whatever we do, whatever services we offer. We want to be a leader in our industry. And in saying that, we invite any suggestions, any recommendations to make the company better. And we also invite persons to become a part of Regency. You know, it's your company. It's a Jamaican-owned company. It's open to the public. It's a publicly owned company, publicly listed company. So follow us. And finally, we'd like to thank God once more for all that He has done, and we have faith in Him in carrying in seeing the company through, in seeing the company's growth through. To improvements and established across the island and globally. So that's it from for now until we speak again.
All right. Thank you so much, Andrew. And for the benefit of everyone, there will be, I believe, your AGM next month. A notice
Yes.
was put out on the JSC already. So
Yep.
you're free to attend in person if you want to ask any questions or share any feedback for the RPL team. There will also be an earnings call for the Q1 that has already finished that we are much anticipating here on Learn Grow Invest. That one will be maybe 2 3 weeks away
Yeah.
in terms of that Q1 report. So multiple opportunities to engage with RPL within the next 30 days, both at the AGM and the earnings call. So I thought it would be a great idea, as I said, to do this episode because we may have so many questions from those two things. I
Mhm.
thought we'd have this one, so maybe if we answer some things here, we can point people to this,
Mhm.
or maybe we can just give a shorter response at maybe the next earnings call, so that we can keep things, kind of concise in terms of within the time. But of course, feel free to reach out to the RPL team, as Andrew mentioned, info at rpl.com,
RPL
right?
gas.
RPL.
RPL gas.com.
Put it in the description of the video. And of course, we have the earnings call quarterly, which you can look forward to as well. And then the AGM, as I always say, is a great opportunity to speak to the company directly, so you don't want to miss that. I think registration should be open for the AGM soon. I think notice will be sent out to existing shareholders any day now, and so you can look forward to being there for that. All right, thank you, Andrew. Enjoy the rest of your day.
Thanks, Ramin. Man, thanks for having me. All right.
All right, guys. So hopefully you enjoyed that interview that we just had with Andrew Williams. a lot of takeaways for me. It seemed like there were some things, of course, that we couldn't necessarily get into, but sound, of course, promising for the company. Of course, we would have touched on a bit the incident earlier this year, the fire which took place. One of the things I said, of course, is that I really appreciated the fact that they were so quick to communicate about it. We've seen other examples where companies take up to a week to inform their shareholders, if at all. But Regency is one of those companies that are very consistent in terms of their communication. And based on what it sounds like, I mean, we will see what the report says, but there should be minimal impact to their performance, if at all. Sounds like things are going well for the Kingston location. Of course, this is a quarter that we've been waiting for to see what the numbers look like with that gas station included. There was hint of some expenses being there, so we'll see what that looks like as well. And I believe he was alluding to just, I guess, expenses that come as a part of being a listed company, AGM and maybe other things that have to be planned for or paid for during the quarter. Not sure that would fall in Q1 though, but we'll see. And then, of course, we also spoke about future plans, right? The future plans kind of point to, further to what he was saying, wanting to become a household name. That's something that they've seen great benefit from. Just, opportunity to maybe enter into more partnerships from the visibility of the company and things of that nature. So that definitely seems promising. The fact that they're able to have this new partnership for the dealer-owned location, that's certainly a good sign for the company. So we look forward to what will hold for this year. And of course, if you're interested, if you are a shareholder, the AGM is a must attend, and the earnings call that we have quarterly will be on this channel. So please, if you have not subscribed as yet, feel free to do that for this channel. This is a channel that the earnings calls are hosted on now, not our main community-based channel. And so feel free to subscribe. We will not be able to send out any emails for this particular channel because we haven't built a separate mailing list. So you have to subscribe and turn on notifications to see the earnings calls when they come out. But we do put the notice on the JSC's website as well for persons who are subscribed to that. All right, so Lavine, I saw your question. I'll forward it to Andrew. And Ryan, you're saying that the last notice of the trading shows a senior officer selling shares on the very morning after the fire started. Okay, I see what you're saying now, Ryan. So I mean, I'll ask Andrew about that one. I'm not sure. Let me check that out as well. I'll check it out. I think it was the most recent one. Okay, I see what you're saying. So I'll look at it and see. Are you talking about this notice? Let me confirm with you, Ryan. There's a notice sent on March 18th. Is that the one you're referring to? Just so I can, just put it to Andrew that it came up as a question. Just confirm, Ryan. I'm going to share my screen and you can confirm if that's the one you're referring to. Okay. All right, so I'll ask the team about it. This would be a question, of course, you can raise on the earnings call and ask about it. So, okay, I think based on the dates you're saying, the date here would be the date after the fire. Okay. All right. So I'll share it with Andrew, and I'm sure he'll make plans to comment on it for the earnings call, which would be in 2 weeks. So that would be a good opportunity to follow up on that. Also, you're saying it doesn't send confidence to shareholders. Okay. I see what you're saying there. So I'll give Andrew a chance to respond to it, and we take it from there. All right, Ryan. So I think that should be good. All right, everyone. Thank you for joining us for this episode. I'll see you again very soon.
Learning is the key to successful investing, and who doesn't want to invest in some way?
Here at Learn, Grow, Invest, we focus on financial education, all with the aim of sharing our knowledge on personal finance, investing, and building wealth. We do this on the foundation of our faith in God.
If a more holistic approach is what you need, check out our Grow Faith-based financial coaching program.
Find out more about us at learngrowinvestclub.com
and follow us on all social media platforms at Learn, Grow, Invest.